Broadcasting from Manhattan Beach and the World Wide Web, you're listening to CHSR, HealthyLife.net.
As a service to our listeners, this program is for general information and entertainment purposes only. CHSR HealthyLife.net does not recommend, endorse, or object to the views, products, or topics expressed or discussed by show hosts or their guests. We suggest you always consult with your own personal, medical, financial, or legal advisor.
We think pretty is pretty important in all things in beauty. Welcome to RadioAMB, designed for those who want to live a long and vibrant life. I'm Patty Smucker, a licensed cosmetologist who's been in the beauty industry for over 40 years. Our program today is brought to you by Alex and Tay Custom Nail Color. It's personalized beauty, and it's arrived, and it's really easy to do. Download an app, snap a picture, tap a color, name your bottle, and order your polish. You aren't limited to hundreds of colors. This truly personalized nail color brand brings you millions of color options and at your fingertips. If you have your own brand, that nail color could be a great line extension or a cause that needs a fundraising source, Alex & Tay is a great solution. Learn more about Alex & Tay at AmericanMadeBeauty.com. Today's show is a new show because we really had a very interesting guest on our show just a couple of weeks ago, and it was had really rave reviews. And the number of people that listened to the show and followed us and commented on social, of which 99% of everything that was said was really amazing. But there were a few things that were said that weren't so amazing, and so we thought it was important for us to take a little bit of a U-turn from our regular scheduled programming to bring back Kim Walls of Lyme Crime and talk a little bit about the subject of reputation management. In our feature segment, we'll talk a little bit about social media, the pluses and minuses, and what reputation management is all about, and learn a little bit about the backstory for Lyme Crime. And in our second segment, we'll talk about some tips and tricks for reputation management. In our third section today, we will be introducing you to a fun new little brand that I saw at the Indie Beauty Expo, which is a new portable razor device. And You'll meet the CEO and Director of Fun of that brand. And finally, in our last segment today, we'll talk about new innovation in beauty. It's the beginning of the year. It's the time of year where all sorts of new things are happening and new ideas are being stimulated. And I'll share with you some important things to consider if you're looking at or considering jumping into the space with a new brand. So let's get started with our guest, who I want to thank Kim for taking time from her busy schedule. Kim Walls is the general manager of Lyme Crime. She's a fourth-generation entrepreneur and second-generation health and wellness expert. Kim, welcome. Thanks for taking the time with us today.
You're most welcome. Thank you.
So we talked at the top of the hour that we had a wonderful show with you and learned a little bit about your background and also about Lyme Crime, and put it out there in the virtual world, had wonderful feedback and social media attraction, but a few things that came back that weren't so positive. So let's talk a little bit about how important is reputation management when you're dealing with a digital brand.
On a scale of 1 to 10, 100.
Okay. And when you think about it, let's talk a little bit about Lyme Crime and utilize that as a case study on what do you talk about and what don't you talk about.
Okay. Well, as you know, Lyme Crime was, as we discussed previously, it was founded in 2008 in the very early stages of social media. And so it grew up, and it was one of the first digitally native brands. So it grew up in the limelight.
Mm-hmm.
Every mistake that every brand makes as they're growing, whether it's forgetting to check a label or not understanding something, just not knowing.
Right.
To pay attention to something. These mistakes that Lyme Crime made, just like every other company makes them, were done in the spotlight.
Mm-hmm.
So the brand brand didn't have the chance to learn and grow like a normal brand does. It reflects what's going on in every aspect of our culture, which is that people are existing socially. And when doing that, when growing a brand, I think in my opinion, the most important thing to do is be honest and transparent and make sure that you're including your customers on your journey. Over-communicate versus under-communicate. There are certainly ways to communicate that are not appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm saying over-communicate, I'm not, it's not the person you wish would never stop talking style. It's the make sure that the messages you're sharing bring people into your world in a way that allows them to be connected so that they develop the right understanding, so that they have empathy and passion. And I would say that with a brand like Lime Crime, it has a very, very passionate and loyal base, and it means something at the DNA level to people. It means something much more than just products or just makeup. The level of attachment people have to something, the amount of love is married by hate. And so where you have deep, deep, deep passion and inspiration, there's always the pendulum will swing just as hard the other way. So I think that knowing how to handle the tough stuff is an important part of the overall customer experience. I would equate it to dealing with a marriage or children or a best friend. Like, you have to be able to get through the hard times together in a really invested, committed way in order to get the most out of the best times.
Right, right. And so in this situation where they were having problems with some of their fulfillment, which is what I hear some of that early stuff was, what would have been the best way for that brand to have addressed it at that early stage in their development?
There are multiple touch points. I think so for any brand, you look at all the touch points that you have with your consumer. It's notes that go in packages. It's social media. It's customer service, whether it's chat, email, or phone calls. It's media and advertising. There's so many different touch points. And so having unified messaging across those touch points that is appropriately presented for those touch points is really critical in any kind of transition. So I'm going to guess that one of the fulfillment issues you were talking about, there were several, really. Every brand has its stories, but one in particular is there was one year when Lime Crime more than tripled in a very, very short period of time and was experiencing out of stocks. Mm-hmm. And they didn't have enough people or enough experience or enough coordination to be able to turn off the mechanism by which people order in time for the out of stocks. There are a lot of, and this is true on most websites, if you have, call it 500 people ordering something at the same time, then the systems, most of them don't actually mark inventory as out of stock until the transaction is complete. So if you have 500 people put an item in their cart and then go through a transaction all at the same time, the system literally doesn't know that 500 orders were just placed. It might have only been showing inventory for 5 pieces, but the inventory wasn't actually checked out until after the transaction. Then you have 500 people, 495 people, in
right.
an example, who have placed an order, paid, but there's no product to ship.
Right, right.
And simple logistical stuff that you then have to deal with and manage appropriately. But in Lime Crime's case, there's just a few people. So they didn't, to think about, 5 minutes per person, 500 people, it takes days.
Right,
to
right.
reach out to that many people and tell them what happened.
Right, right.
So you have to find better ways and faster ways, more efficient ways, but mostly just do your best to make sure that kind of stuff doesn't happen. And this is something we spoke about on our previous call as well, is most of the challenges come from logistical issues. And so if a brand is growing rapidly and experiencing all the benefits of that, it's really important to invest in the people who will help make sure those kinds of things don't happen.
Right, exactly, and have those investments. So specifically, because I know that it will be helpful for us in terms of dealing with some of the socials, because you had some specific answers. One of the things that came up was related to credibility or security around transactions, credit card transactions. Can you address that?
Sure. So security, all right, we'll start off by saying this. What people know, understand, comprehend, what your general consumer population, somebody who just loves makeup and is buying a product, has a really minimal amount of knowledge and understanding of how things work when it comes to PCI compliance and security breaches and really technical stuff, because they don't need to know.
Right.
So here's an example, and this happens all the time with almost all security breaches, that a breach online for e-commerce sites, a breach will happen, and then it won't actually be discovered for some amount of time. Maybe it's 2 days, maybe it's 2 months. It can be years on a slow leak. And when the company then announces that they had a security breach, they are required by law to say when it started. So what happens again and again and again is that the companies come out with this information and they say there's, maybe on December 1st, they'll say there's been a security breach since October 1st and all this other information. And what the consumer hears is, you knew about this breach for 3 months and you didn't tell us? You are evil.
Right.
And that's just not the way it works. They didn't know that whole 3 months, but they have to say that they did. So there are agencies that are specialists in communicating about this kind of information. There are people, but mostly it's just say it again and again and repeat and be patient and staff up for customer service, and you expect people not to understand.
Right.
Not because they're not smart, but because that is not their relevant experience in life. And be kind and be patient and be ready. Be ready. Have the customer service in place. Have the answers considered. Don't try to figure it out on the fly.
Right. And that's a great point. I mean, because, again, and it's all about that marriage where you've got deep, passionate connection to experiences and brands and people. You want to be able to work through those tough times. So as much as there's the responsibility on the side of the brand to be transparent and to have integrity in the relationship, there's also on the other side is the consumer engaging and giving people, being willing to learn and listen and understand that there really is two sides to, every story and being open to the facts. So the other one that was raised was some background stuff with regards to the original founder and some early things that she did in her life that she first came to the U.S. and not really understanding as far as costuming and things like that. Can you address that a little bit more?
Sure. Yeah. So our founder is from Russia. And when she first came to this country as a teenager, she had a lot to learn about our culture. She'd never been out of Russia until she got here. And in this particular case that you're mentioning, her understanding of Halloween was that it's a time when you dress up like a monster. And being of Russian Jewish descent, the biggest monster in her life and in her world was Adolf Hitler. And so she wore a little mustache and a couple of other pieces that indicated an Adolf Hitler costume. And Americans with their full cultural relevance and knowledge and understanding that you just never that's an untouchable. You just don't go there. She didn't have that information. And so she had to learn. That was actually long before she founded Lime Crime. And it was something that once she understood the full implications of what she'd done, she was really, really apologetic for. She apologized publicly many, many times. And, she has many people of Jewish descent working in the company she founded and is not in any way, she's a good person.
Right.
And that was just a really unfortunate situation that social media kind of grabbed onto and took out of context and made up a lot of things about.
And that is one of the pieces that is also part of this reputation management is that there are all sorts of different. The internet allows you to pull all sorts of information and to put it in today. When number one, it isn't. It was long before she owned the brand, but second of all, is like you said, out of context. And so, is this something that you like prepare the staff for, and everyone really understands where that came from as part of the reputation management strategy that you use as a company?
Well, basically, no, because if you know something's going to go wrong, don't do it in the first place. So this is all of these situations are things where it's critical to have experience at the table, to rely on experts, to be able to act very, very quickly, to be responsive quickly, but not in a knee-jerk way, in a thoughtful way. So that requires training, experience, and experts. And when those, so the part where it's important to be prepared is to make sure various people know who to call immediately. The plan isn't to have a plan. The plan is to figure out how to make a plan fast.
It's a great point, how to make a plan fast, because you don't really know what is there, and you have to have an ability to process and figure out what's the appropriate thing to do. Since you've been part of the company, and you joined them in 2014, right?
Yes.
So just a 3-year period of time. At that point, how old was Lime Crime at that point?
Oh, goodness, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 6 years.
6 years, okay. So, and when you come in as a new leader and part of your, as a general manager and also being involved with looking at how to develop the story around the brand, what are some of the things that you've done in your leadership role specifically for this company around those stories and taking the brand to a new level?
You know, I'm probably going to give you an answer that wouldn't be what you'd expect. Hiring people. That was really the first and most important thing to do was and it started with customer service because that's the first touch point with the consumer. So just going back a little bit, I would say that Lime Crime has a very strong brand identity, and so that really needed no attention at all. What did need attention and what still does, which is a work in progress and may always be a work in progress, is figuring out all the different ways to communicate the best elements of the brand, whether it's the vegan products or the cruelty-free position or all the charity work that is done. Finding more and more ways to communicate that goodness is important. And so at the end of the day, it's figuring out what are the main things we want to communicate, where do we want to communicate them, and then how, right? How do you execute? And that execution pretty much comes down to people and systems. So the main thing that I've done over the past few years is implement systems and people to take that nugget of greatness that's there and give it a platform to grow. Right.
And when you talk about systems and people, obviously one of them, like you said, first of all, hiring, but being able to develop that strategy on how to think quickly and respond appropriately to various different things. What were some of the other systems that, for a young company, weren't there that you thought really needed to be implemented?
Reminding people not to act independently is a big deal. So, for example, a comment comes in on customer service. If it's a negative comment and it's not a known negative comment with a variation with a context to write from in response, not just trying to wing it, but actually coming back to a broader team, their management team, and saying, hey, this is new, or something like, if you get 5 negative comments all on the same thing, then that becomes an alert. That becomes something that you bring back to whatever is the appropriate team, whether it's product development or marketing or PR, what have you. So giving people milestones and metrics framework so that they have an idea of when to act alone, when to bring other people in, who are the right people to bring in at any given time. And it's literally just sitting down, figuring it out, writing it down, and getting agreement from everybody, or at least almost everybody, that this is the right, this is what we're going to do. And getting that cross-functional agreement between people is super critical. People can't be acting alone.
Right.
That's when problems happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we're going to wrap up this section, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the tips that brands can follow in growing in a virtual community and when to do nothing. So stay with us, and we will be right back with Kim Walls of Lyme Crime.
Over here. Here's a secret for a virus-free computer. ESET. They've been a pioneer in the antivirus industry for over 25 years. 25 years of innovative, top-rated antivirus protection. ESET's award-winning security solutions provide a safe online experience for over 100 million home and business computer owners. They are so affordable, fast, and simple to use. So be gone, you blue screen of death. ESET's on my computer. If it's not on yours, visit HealthyLife.net's advertiser page and click on ESET now.
Here's the thing about beauty. It's pretty. At AmericanMadeBeauty.com, we're all about the pretty, making it easy for you to find what makes your beauty shine. We have essentially everything you need, and AmericanMadeBeauty.com celebrates brands that were created right here in the U.S. of A. Imagine everything you need from the best hair, skin, and nail products to makeup and even the tools, because it's all about pretty at AmericanMadeBeauty.com. We also think you're pretty important, so visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com. Browse, buy, learn. AmericanMadeBeauty.com. We're looking for a few good American beauty manufacturers who want to increase their brand in an exclusive credentialed category. If you're an American company who has conceived, designed, and bottled brands that are all about pretty, then we're pretty sure we're talking about you. And we're pretty sure you should be on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. This beauty website focuses on entrepreneurs and beauty startups as well as established brands. If it's pretty, we want to see it, and we want to sell it on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. To learn how you can be part of AmericanMadeBeauty.com, visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com now.
What does HealthyLife.net and Amazon.com have in common? Well, they're both available on the Internet. They both give great value. But most important, most of our positive program hosts and guests are accomplished authors, and their books are available from, you got it, Amazon.com. Now, it even gets better than that, because when you're listening on air to a HealthyLife.net host or guest, you can go directly to Amazon.com, and you can order your book while you're still listening to your favorite HealthyLife.net program. So when you hear an author you like, go to the homepage of HealthyLife.net and click on Amazon.com.
Where positive people and radio unite. HealthyLife.net.
Hi there, this is Patty Smucker, and you're listening to RadioAMB on HealthyLife.net. I am here with the general manager of Lyme Crime, and we've been talking about reputation management as a virtual, digital native brand, learning how to work in the virtual world and develop a community is really important. And I know, Kim, in our last segment, you talked and used Lyme Crime specifically as a case study of circumstances that happened in their history and how you've been able to utilize those experiences to develop your team and to overcome some of those things as they occur. When a company is new, beginning, starting, and particularly now you're talking about the idea that many of these companies are starting out in the spotlight, being in social media right away, can you think about some things that early stage companies can do in terms of structure that helps them to be more transparent and organized in the early stages of their company?
Yes. So transparency in organization specific to social media, it's typically in these types of companies the founders who are the ones who are establishing that early bridge, that early connection. And it's important to remember that consumers, when they're most passionate, are really thinking about a brand like it's a person, and that one-way communication doesn't work. You can't talk out to them, and when they speak to you, you have to speak back. And so getting support pretty early, making sure to stay engaged so that it's not a one-way conversation, building that relationship, remembering that each person who's commenting is a person with a life and a story and a history and a perspective, and in the same way you said in the earlier segment, like remembering to just sort of be kind and have empathy and give the benefit of the doubt. Building the type of relationship that will allow for that should problems arise later, should PR issues happen later, that starts from the very, very, very beginning by taking the approach of a two-way conversation through these social media tools.
And I know in order to be able to do that, it seems like there is more and more efficient tools, listening tools and things like that are coming about to make that a little bit easier, because it seems, as a business owner myself, a really daunting task to be able to run the business on a day-to-day basis and still be in a situation in which you're having this engagement all of the time. Are there particular tools that you like, that you've put in place that would help early-stage companies to understand how to properly engage in that two-way conversation?
There certainly are. I mean, there really are. There are tons and tons and tons of them, and that depends very much on the level of the company. So as much as I might talk about data and process and strategy, those are not the things that start a brand, and those are not the things that keep a brand alive. And there's a difference between a brand and a business. A brand is not meaningful if it doesn't produce revenue to profit to keep growing. But I actually going to go against everything I've just said. In those very early stages, the authenticity and the sort of truth and the point of view of the brand is much more important than anything else, because having a relationship with consumers is the hardest part, hands down, absolutely hands down. Comparatively, everything else is easy because you can pay for it, you can ask somebody to do it. The magic that happens when a brand is in its nascent stages, there's no explanation for that. And so my point is, don't spend money on a bunch of tools and a bunch of analytics and worry too terribly much about the metrics. Worry first about authenticity and delivering something meaningful to the consumer. If you don't have something, you should never be in the position of trying to figure out what to say. If you don't have something meaningful to say, it's probably better to not say anything, just based on like what you were saying before, what is best not to have. So the basic, the tools in Instagram are really sophisticated. The tools in Facebook, very sophisticated. You can look at your penetration. What percent of your followers are seeing your posts? What happens if you boost a post? What happens if anything? They're free. Google Analytics, really, really important. Very, very important. That is one. Okay, there you go. That's the one.
Right.
If I were to say to a young company, there is one tool that you need to understand and use and start thinking of as your best friend, it would be Google Analytics.
Right, and that makes sense. So when is it in social, and there is, no matter what you do, it seems like there's a situation in which you get negative feedback. Tell us, what are the situations in which the best strategy is to do nothing?
Situations where people are being this is opinion, right? But where people are being blatantly racist or blatantly hateful, I think that those types of comments should be deleted. Delete and do nothing. Any other situation, doing nothing usually isn't the right thing.
Right.
If you get to, depending, if there's a certain percent, if you have a couple percent of your base that is upset about something, you definitely need to do something. But if it's just a few people, watch and wait. And if you've done something wrong, if it is a product and you have a product issue, certainly you do something immediately. Make a plan, fast plan, and do something. If it's just people griping about something, then unless it's a very large, significant percent of the base,
Mm-hmm.
that's when you do nothing. Let people gripe. They want to vent.
Right.
It doesn't mean you have to have something to say about it.
Right. Well, and you make a great distinction there too in terms of the what you just watch and wait, and then what you actually delete. Because I know that there is some school of thought that you never want to delete anything because then you're not allowing for your community to have an authentic voice. But it sounds like people ranting about various different things is okay, but hateful and racist things, those are things that you would actually delete.
Well, in my case, yes,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it might be different for different brands and different people. But if I see a kid getting beat up in the park, I, as a human, am going to be the first person over there
Mm-hmm.
to stop it.
Right.
So it depends. It depends on what kind of brand you are.
Right. Right. All right, great. Well, Kim, thanks. I mean, these have been real pearls of wisdom for someone who is really leading the way in terms of creating a digital native brand. We really appreciate you taking the time to come and share your thoughts with us. So thanks again for being with us.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. It's fun to be able to help people learn.
Great.
And it's fun to learn.
Great. Well, have a safe trip to India, and we'll look forward to another opportunity to learn more about your story in the future.
All right.
All right.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Bye.
All right. Well, when we come back, we will talk a little bit more with another brand. Leila Kashani will be with us. She is the CEO and Director of Fun of a new innovative brand that I found just this year. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Here's the thing about beauty. It's pretty. At AmericanMadeBeauty.com, we're all about the pretty, making it easy for you to find what makes your beauty shine. We have essentially everything you need, and AmericanMadeBeauty.com celebrates brands that were created right here in the U.S. of A. Imagine everything you need from the best hair, skin, and nail products to makeup and even the tools, because it's all about pretty at AmericanMadeBeauty.com. We also think you're pretty important, so visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com. Browse, buy, learn. AmericanMadeBeauty.com.
For all your live or pre-recorded webcasting needs, come to earthchannel.com. Get your web-based message out to a select group or the whole world. It's easy. A pioneer in webcasting, earthchannel.com provides the best products and services to big corporations and government users. And now this same technology is available to you. They have the best Earthcast encoders, servers, and products to meet your technical needs. But wait, don't want to mess with technical stress? No problem. They'll do it for you. EarthChannel.com is your answer. You can use webcasting for lots of things like advertising, marketing, customer support, training, and don't forget web radio and TV. In fact, you're listening to a live Earthcast right now. So come to EarthChannel.com. Actualize your audio or video webcasting needs today. You can't beat the friendly service or the price. Call EarthChannel.com at 1-800-849-8978. That's 1-800-849-8978.
We're looking for a few good American beauty manufacturers who want to increase their brand in an exclusive credentialed category. If you're an American company who has conceived, designed, and bottled brands that are all about pretty, then we're pretty sure we're talking about you. And we're pretty sure you should be on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. This beauty website focuses on entrepreneurs and beauty startups as well as established brands. If it's pretty, we want to see it, and we want to sell it on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. To learn how you can be part of AmericanMadeBeauty.com, visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com now.
When you're looking for bedding, department store prices can shock you. Well, be shocked no more. Sell steak cheap, not cheap steak. That's the motto of Anna's Linens. Although they don't sell steak, they do sell the best bedding, bath, and home decor items. They strive to provide their merchandise at extreme value to their customers, and they do it. Great everyday prices on everything and military discounts. Plus, if you visit them online, they have clearance items and internet specials. Visit them online now at HealthyLife.net's advertiser page.
Radio your way. HealthyLife.net.
Hey there, welcome back. This is Patty Smucker, and you're listening to RadioAMB on HealthyLife.net. And this is the time of year where all sorts of new things are happening, and we get an opportunity to see new things coming into the marketplace. Earlier this year, we went to the Indie Beauty Expo that happened here in Los Angeles, and there I had a chance to meet Leila Kashani, who is the CEO and Director of Fun of Sphynx, which is a new device that's come to market. So welcome, Leila. I'm thrilled to have you with us today.
Thanks. Glad to be here.
So tell us a little bit about what your product is.
So Sphynx was born because I am the queen of missed spots, what I call myself. I'm constantly shaving in the shower and getting out and realizing the sun hits my legs or my underarms or reflects somewhere, and then so there it is, voila, a missed spot. So that
the queen of missed spots is what you said. Okay, I didn't quite catch that, but queen of missed spots. Okay.
Yeah. So it started when I was younger, and then when I got older, and my life got busier, it kept happening, and no longer was it a missed spot, but it was just the way that I was living my life so busy, didn't have time to keep up with my shaving routine.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought, I have to come up with a solution. And I was working at a toy company, and I was presenting to Target one day, and I had a huge presentation, and I realized none of the buyers were paying attention to my presentation.
Mm-hmm.
They were actually staring at my unshaven underarms.
What a great epiphany, huh?
Yeah, that's where it was born. So.
And so tell our audience exactly what it is.
It's a portable razor. It includes a little mini spray bottle, a pre-shave bar, and a razor all in one in a compact circle little contraption. It looks like something that would fit perfectly within your makeup bag,
mm-hmm.
like in your compact case, rather than a traditional razor. So I wanted it to be something that you were excited to show off to your friends, that looks cute and fun and playful, stepping away from what we traditionally see razors to look like.
Mm-hmm. And so, it's so cute. It's a round little device, and but what I remembered about it is that you had the spray bottle in it, and you sort of put the spray bottle in, and then you twist or turn it, and up pops the bar that you can use to moisten or lubricate the skin, right?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's like a twist style, almost like what you imagine your stove to have. You can twist from section, they heat up.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll twist from section to section, and all of the functions are replaceable and refillable. So you can replace the razors when they go dull. You can replace the shea butter, and the shea butter actually is moisturizing. So
mm-hmm.
once you shave that area and you have a little bit of residue left on your skin, you can rub it in just like you would moisturizer.
Great. And so what is it retail for?
$14.99.
$14.99. And where can somebody buy it right now?
It's at Ulta, Urban Outfitters, Free People, and on our website, shopsphynx.com.
And spell it.
SPHYNX.
Okay.
So you put shop, SPHYNX.com.
Okay, great. And so how you got the idea, and I love the inspiration in terms of your hairy pits, but how difficult was it? I mean, in your particular case, this is not a liquid. This was manufacturing and all of that kind of stuff. What was the process to be able to actually bring this to market?
It was the longest 2 years of my life, but it was well worth it.
Uh-huh.
I went to several different factories till I got to a manufacturing factory that could actually achieve what I wanted to design, thousands of prototypes. The shea butter was really hard to create because I had to find something that wouldn't melt in the sun, that wouldn't leave your skin sticky, that wouldn't clog or, cause razor burn and clog the blade. Even from the detail of, a single blade doesn't clog as much as like a 3 or 4 blade that you use at home.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem with the 3 or 4 blade is something you have the opportunity at home to tap it to a sink or the shower wall to get the hair out. But when you're on the go, you can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of detail in the design, which took a long time. I even added, some holes on the side of the product so the razors can dry faster to avoid rusting. So it was a long and painful process, but the outcome was worth it.
And is this something that did you go into it knowing that it was going to take you 2 years and having the resources to be able to withstand that?
I definitely did not project it to take that long. I thought I would be out in the market 6 months after I started.
Mm-hmm.
That definitely was not the case. What actually ended up happening was I had a bunch of prototypes created, and I gave them to a few friends, and one of my prototypes ended up on a friend's desk at work, and her boss saw it and asked if she could have it. And so my friend called me and said, "I'm so sorry. My first week on the job, I don't have your prototype anymore. My boss took it, and I can't figure out a polite way to ask for it back." And a couple of days go by, and I hear nothing back from her. And then, on April 1st, I get an email from Ulta Beauty asking me if they can meet with me. And I thought it was a prank because April 1st is April Fool's Day.
Right.
Also my favorite day of the year. So I thought, for sure someone's coming back to get me. But it actually was Ulta Beauty, and they were interested. And so my timeline, at that point I was already a year and a half in, but because they wanted to put an order in, I had to go way faster and move way quicker. And so I think it would have even taken me 2.5 years had I not had to, get the ball rolling faster for Ulta.
Right. Well, that was definitely the universe calling you and saying this is a right solution, right time. Was it helpful for you in terms of funding the company and raising the capital to be able to do the project, that you had an interest from Ulta?
Yeah, that definitely was helpful. I think my biggest lesson was whatever you project as a budget, double it and then double it again.
Mm-hmm.
So, I worked creating toys before this, and I had an idea of how much plastic and materials cost, but there's just so much unexpected from patents and trademarks and things that you just don't think about. Sourcing and manufacturing, it's a lot more expensive than you can imagine, and one thing goes wrong, you're throwing away everything, you're starting all over again.
Right.
So, but it definitely gave me the guts to continue to invest.
Right. Well, and you're fortunate in that, the way that the circumstances turned around, all of a sudden you have a big buyer that's interested, and so you've got some sense of guarantee with regards to the revenue. When they made an interest in you, did they bring you out, was your first order for just online, or did they bring you in the stores?
They brought me in stores nationwide.
Okay.
So great. But, an investment in the machine to build the product is around like $60,000 to $100,000. So no order size could, even if it was, for every single one of their stores, it wasn't going to take, it doesn't help that much. It just helps get the brand out there. And it's just really guts. I woke up in the middle of the night with panic attacks for a good month, wondering if I was making the right decision. And, my husband kept saying, don't worry, opportunities are going to show up and the hardships are going to get easier.
Mm-hmm.
And now telling the story, it's easy to remember the opportunities that I got and try not to remember the hardship that I had. But there was plenty of times where I was having a hard time getting out of bed and keep going because of some of the bumps in the road.
Right. That's really part of this journey as well. I mean, that's part of the story is that all new brands have those rough times. So what was it that got you out of bed?
I really think I married a mini Tony Robbins.
That's helpful.
I think, when I was ready to quit several times, he kept pushing me and reassuring me that it was worth it. And then when you have, retailers like Ulta and other brands showing interest, and the excitement around the market in general, like a lot of my friends were finally something like this. I needed something like this. And that was reassuring and kept me going for sure.
Mm-hmm. And then I think that's an important part of working with a new product or brand or any kind of new adventure is have a support system. And you were fortunate to be able to have a husband, but it sounds like you're more than just your husband. You've got a really great support system around you.
Yeah, there's always going to be skeptical people. Like, my husband doesn't understand why women need, portable razors. He's like, I don't understand it. It's because he shaves in the shower, or he shaves in front of the sink, and there's a mirror above him, so he can see every area.
Right.
And for them, it's different. So he didn't understand it, but he saw the excitement of the people around me. You always have people who are skeptical, and you just have to close your eyes to them and go with your gut sometimes, and try to surround yourself with the people who are enthusiastic about it so you stay motivated.
Great. Well, thank you. Thanks for taking a few minutes to tell us. I thought it was one of the cutest things that I saw at the show, and I was really excited to be able to share your story. So, again, tell them what's the name of the product and where they can find it.
The product is called Sphynx, and you can find it at Ulta, Free People, Anthropologie, Urban Outfitters, or our website, shopsphynx.com.
Great. Thanks again for being with us.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome. All right, we're going to take our final break, and when we come back, we'll talk about some of the things that, if you're thinking about bringing a new brand to market, what are some of those things that you should be thinking about so you don't find yourself in a situation with running into things that you didn't expect. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Here's the thing about beauty. It's pretty. At AmericanMadeBeauty.com, we're all about the pretty, making it easy for you to find what makes your beauty shine. We have essentially everything you need, and AmericanMadeBeauty.com celebrates brands that were created right here in the U.S. of A. Imagine everything you need from the best hair, skin, and nail products to makeup and even the tools, because it's all about pretty at AmericanMadeBeauty.com. We also think you're pretty important, so visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com. Browse, buy, learn. AmericanMadeBeauty.com.
When you're looking for bedding, department store prices can shock you. Well, be shocked no more. Sell steak cheap, not cheap steak. That's the motto of Anna's Linens. Although they don't sell steak, they do sell the best bedding, bath, and home decor items. They strive to provide their merchandise at extreme value to their customers, and they do it. Great everyday prices on everything and military discounts. Plus, if you visit them online, they have clearance items and internet specials. Visit them online now at HealthyLife.net's advertiser page.
We're looking for a few good American beauty manufacturers who want to increase their brand in an exclusive credentialed category. If you're an American company who has conceived, designed, and bottled brands that are all about pretty, then we're pretty sure we're talking about you. And we're pretty sure you should be on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. This beauty website focuses on entrepreneurs and beauty startups as well as established brands. If it's pretty, we want to see it, and we want to sell it on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. To learn how you can be part of AmericanMadeBeauty.com, visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com now.
Oh, man, it never fails. My suitcase just got ripped apart.
Life is a journey. Make it a pleasant one. Use Samsonite. You know the name. For almost a century, Samsonite luggage has proved itself to be the worldwide leader in innovative travel solutions. Let it be yours. Visit HealthyLife.net's affiliate Samsonite on our homepage and click to look at the fine luggage from suitcases to golf travel bags. And don't forget, take a look at their travel accessories. Make life a journey, a pleasant one, with Samsonite.
HealthyLife.net, where positive overcomes negative.
Welcome back for our last segment today. It's really been a great show. I love being able to do these spontaneous shows. And in this segment, I want to talk a little bit about bringing new brands to market. This is a really exciting time in the industry when beauty, wellness, health. Why? Because we know more about the human body than we've ever known before. We know about how cells function, how they digest, take in food, how they digest it, how they expel, how they work. And so we have the capacity through that understanding to be able to create delivery systems and both topical and ingestible beauty that truly is creating responses from the body that are amazing. I'm almost 60 years old. I'll celebrate my 60th birthday this year, and I'll tell you, my skin is going through a revolution. I just feel that the various different things that I'm using, I of course have the luxury of experimenting with all sorts of different products. I have on my desk right now 6 brands, 4 of them from America, 1 from Australia, and another one from China. And to be able to see the new technology that's taking place in beauty is quite exciting. And so so that's the one thing, is that we know more about the body, but we also have some specialization that's taking place in our understanding of cosmetic chemistry, delivery systems, natural and organic ingredients, and white papers and statistical analysis that has been done to be able to demonstrate what the various different things do and how they respond on and in the body. And so it is a whole renaissance in beauty, and if you're using a product that's more than 5 or 6 years old, maybe 10 years old, you're really using old technology, and it's time to look at some of these new innovative brands that aren't caught up with their formulas that they've had for decades and are willing to bring you new and interesting brands. And some of the places that we're seeing these new and innovative brands come to market is Indie Beauty Expo is a place that actually is designed for new and innovative brands. Indie Beauty Expo happens in Los Angeles, Dallas, and New York every year, and this year, 2018, will also be going to London. And then there's the traditional shows for the beauty industry, ISSE, Chicago Midwest, and the New York show. Those are all places that take place where you can see new and innovative brands. But the first quarter of the year is where we see a lot of new innovation come into the marketplace. And I love it because in my business, I am constantly having companies come to me and wanting to be able to bring new products to market. But there are some critical things. You heard Leila from Kashani of Sphynx, who has brought this new razor to market, and she said in her interview with us, whatever your budget is, double it and then triple it. I've got a little bit of a different advice. Get involved with someone who has the capacity to help you to understand up front. There are a lot of experts like Performance Branding Services, American Made Beauty, that can help you. We have a subscription that you can participate in to learn what are the critical things that brands need to understand to play effectively in the beauty space. This is a very crowded market. It's gotten more and more crowded, but it's also a wonderful time for innovation and things that are happening in the marketplace that there is opportunities in every category to be able to create new technology and bring new things to market. But it is crowded, and you need to have resources. We had the president of the Kirshner Group on earlier this year, and one of the things he said is money is good, but smarts is even better. And so being smart about how you are going to be entering the marketplace and having an idea in advance, what are the critical things that you need to know and what those things are going to cost you, is really important. And so here's some of the high points that I talk to brands about when they're talking to me about entering the marketplace. The first is that you need to be able to have a recognizable brand, and you need to be able to own that. And so as market is crowded, one of the parts of creating a recognizable brand is that there is a brand name that you can own. And finding a brand name that you can own becomes really difficult in a marketplace where almost every name in the world is taken. The .com, even if you can find something that's not trademarked, the .com for that is being squatted on by someone. So there's a lot of work that goes into creating a name for a product and something that can be very distinctive and you can own. And so the first very critical thing is the brand that you are going to create, the identity that you're going to create, and that you can own it. And when I say own it, it can be trademark protected. Over and over again, I see new brands go to market go to the Indie Beauty Expo, go to these various different places and exhibit their product with no trademark protection whatsoever. The problem with that is that when someone else sees it and they see that there is no marks on the packaging that shows that intellectual protection legal protection has been created, that means that brand name or mark can be copied, so that somebody else can use it, that they can go out and trademark it. So very first thing, make sure that you understand what it means to trademark your product, that you get an ownable name, and that you protect it right from the very beginning. It's very, very important. Obviously, having something that's distinctive, something you don't want another Me Too product. You don't know how many products come across my desk that are a bar of soap, a body wash, a lotion, a shampoo, and a conditioner. I could choke at the number of these products that I see every day. Unless you've got something that's different, don't go in those categories. Go make something that really is unique and different, and then understand what it's really going to cost you to bring that product to market. So you can do all sorts of research, for example, on very innovative and wonderful ingredients to a product, but in order to be able to manufacture that, you have to understand what it's going to cost to bring that unique ingredient into the product and manufacture it. So for example, most ingredients that would go into an initial order of, say, 5,000 pieces of a shampoo would maybe use 3 to 5 pounds of a particular ingredient, but that particular ingredient, the manufacturer must order 50 pounds in order to get you your 3 pounds to make your first batch. That makes that ingredient cost prohibitive for a new brand to include. This and many, many other things are what we talk about in our Beauty Industry Market Access Program, which is the educational arm of American Made Beauty, and where we really help brands to understand what is the true cost of entering the marketplace. Is there an opportunity today to make a successful brand in the beauty industry? Absolutely. But as Harlan Kirshner says, money is good, but smart is even better. So get smart with us. And thanks for listening to American Made Beauty, where we work with brands to help them be effective in the marketplace, because we think pretty is pretty important in all things in beauty.